Vice-Chancellor, it gives me very great pleasure indeed to call upon Kayode Damali to address our graduating students. Kayode Damali is an accredited professional speaker, member of the Global Speakers Federation, media personality, and graduate of Manchester Metropolitan University. Kayode came to university through clearing and went on to graduate with the first-class Psychology of Sport and Exercise degree. In 2014, his final year research project on motivation and self-belief was published. Upon graduating, Kayode was elected Vice President of the Students' Union and Student Nominee on the Board of Governors. Kayode was elected a Director of the National Union of Students before embarking on his career as an entrepreneur, where he has been listed in the top 10 of the most powerful young entrepreneurs in the world. As well as his business endeavours, Kayode volunteers on projects that give young people opportunities to engage with reading, social activities and the prevention of offending. Please welcome Kayode Damali.
Vice-Chancellor, members of the university, good to see you again. Students, graduates, how y'all doing? Love it, man, love it. Honestly, some of you guys brought the energy. I was so jealous. I want to graduate with you. Honestly, I was enjoying it from down there, I'm telling you. And our friends, guests, and families up in the balcony, how y'all doing? Everyone good? Good. Again, even though this is the last ceremony of the day, you guys definitely brought the energy. Every time I heard a cheer, I'm like, where is that coming from? Almost gave myself whiplash. So I'm glad there's nurses in here because that almost went very wrong. But anyway, my name is Kayode Damali. I am a mum and dad's son. And I'm proud to be speaking today during a graduation speech. And this is actually my second one of the day. I did one this morning. So this is my second one of the day, which is a massive achievement for me, doing two in one day. Because I can rarely last 2 rounds. In boxing, though, I'm talking about boxing. Which for me has become a new sport, it's a new hobby of mine since the COVID period. I felt like getting into boxing was good for not only for my physical well-being, but also good for my mental well-being. Not to say that I'm any good, I'm a happy chap, I'm not mean right, but I've got to mean right. And I always try to mean right. But the reason why I love boxing is because as a sport, I feel like there's so many good lessons, so many good themes, so many good quotes that we can take from it. Take for example, Rocky. Rocky once said that it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forwards. I found that very profound. I found that so profound, in fact, that I included that clip in my final year dissertation, which I got published. Now, I'm not too sure if I was allowed to do it because of trademark and copyright, so Sylvester Stallone, if you're watching, I apologize. Maybe my people can talk to your people and get their payment made, I don't know. But I found that quote very profound. Or take Mike Tyson, for example. Mike Tyson once said that everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Again, quite profound. Made me want to hold my mouth hearing that. Quite profound. Now, I'm not one to necessarily want to disagree publicly with Mike Tyson. They call him Iron Mike at the end of the day. And if he's Iron Mike, I'm probably like Teaspoon Kayode. So I don't want to argue with Mike Tyson. But I feel like he missed out on one key element when he said that quote. And I'll explain why. You see, in 2020, I became an uncle again. My sister gave birth to a boy. I got a nephew. And I say again because I got a niece. And in fact, it's actually her birthday today. It's her birthday right now. Was that a cheer? Oh, thank you. She's going to love that. Thank you. So she's turned 8 today, so I've got a niece and I've also got a nephew. But I'll never forget when my sister introduced me to her partner. She said, yeah, Kayode, my partner, he's a professional MMA UFC fighter. I'm like, damn, my sister goes out with a professional MMA UFC fighter? I was there like FFS, LOL, WTF, BRB. I didn't want no part of it. Professional MMA fighting, no wonder I got into boxing. I need to step my game up. But the reason why I love life is because sometimes in life, don't you find it's interesting that some of the biggest people who can have the most profound impact on you can sometimes come from the people who you least expect? Now, I know you're at graduation, so you ain't necessarily writing notes, but if you were to write notes, I'd want you to underline that. Sometimes they come from people who you least expect. The key word there being expect. Now, the reason I say that is because when I was going through quite a difficult period in my life, both professionally and personally, he was the main person who came to my rescue almost, the person who had the biggest impact on my life. And over this short time that we have today, during this graduation, I want to share with you a few tips that I learned from him. That if you grasp it today, I promise you that when you leave this graduation hall, you're going to change your life profoundly. So let's get ready, let's get into it. Now, when I said to him, things were going on, he said to me, okay, Kayode, you know what? Let's go on a walk. Let's go through the park, let's go on a walk. So we sat down on the bench and, I was explaining everything that was going on at the time, both professionally and personally. And, he was a good listener. He weren't, when you speak to your friends about a problem and your friends are like, what? You should leave him? No, leave her. Well, don't do that business. No, he didn't do that. He was just listening very politely. Then he said to me, Kayode, what do you notice about that tree over there? I'm like, big man, like which one? We're in a park, like which tree are you talking about? He said, that tree. And I said, I'm not a dendrophiliac. I don't necessarily have an attraction to trees, but I'm sure that is an attractive tree. If that tree was to meet that tree, I'm sure there might be some kind of attraction. I don't know. But he said to me specifically, no, Kayode, what do you notice about the leaves? And at the time, it was in autumn, right? So what happens in autumn? The leaves fall. In fact, I love the Americans, they don't even call it autumn, they call it fall. I always wonder how they came up with that. It's like, oh no, the summer season's finished. What should we call the next season? I don't know, what are the leaves doing? They're falling, great. We're going to call this season fall. I don't know, I think that's how they did it. But anyway, so it's in autumn, and the leaves were falling. So I said to him, yeah, the leaves are falling. He said, precisely, but notice the way that the leaves are falling. They're at mercy of the wind as to which direction they can go. They are limited to how they can control their destiny. I was like, right, interesting. Then he said to me, what do you notice about the trunk of the tree? I said, yeah, that's a very sturdy trunk. He said, precisely. Kayode, from listening to you, it's very clear to me that you are like the leaves. You are swayed by external circumstances. You are not being in control of your destiny right now. I need you to be more like the trunk of the tree, solid, anchored, standing for what you believe in. I said, you know what, you're right. Because picture this, right? Coming off The Apprentice, I kid you not, I was receiving no less than 1,000 messages a day across Facebook, Instagram DMs, LinkedIn, you name it. I was getting messages from everywhere, like 1,000 plus a day, easy, and that was probably on a bad day. And we're always told, you've got to capitalize on opportunity, make the most of it. And I found myself like the leaves, being swayed by external circumstances. So I realized that I need to be more like the trunk of the tree, anchored to what I believe in. So I encourage you from this first lesson that when you leave these doors today, don't be swayed by the external circumstances. That could be your family, that could be your friends, your spouse, whatever. Don't be swayed like the leaves. Be anchored like the trunk of the tree. Stand up for what you believe in. Stand up for what it is that you want to do, and be who it is that you want to be. I was like, right. And that's right for proud. I was like, a round of applause again. I love that. But I might as well take a sip of water while you're clapping, right? I feel like we can do this in unison. So I was like, right, that's an interesting lesson. I said, what else you got for me then? He said, well, on the back of the leaves. He said, Kayode, my sister's partner said to me, Kayode, it's very clear to me that your happiness is now coming from external. But you need to always make sure that your happiness comes from within. Don't rely on your job. Don't rely on your career. Don't rely on graduation. Don't rely on anything else to determine your happiness. Your happiness should always come from within you. Why? Because if it comes from within you, no one can take that away. Your job can go, career go, money comes and goes. But if you make your happiness come from within you, you're more likely to stay happily for eternity. And the final thing I want to give you that he told me was this. He said to me, Kayode, I used to be a professional MMA UFC fighter, right? I was like, yes! Wicked, we're going to go kick some ass. We're going to go get him. I was thinking about all the people who did me wrong for the past 24 months. I was like, yeah, I've got a UFC fighter now. What? Who wants them? Who wants it? I was thinking even back to year 9 when Jacob took my Bunsen burner. I was like, Jacob, remember when you took my Bunsen burner? What? He was like, no, Kayode. As a UFC fighter or MMA fighter, He said to me, "What do you think is the hardest strike that I received from my opponent?" And I'm like, "Boy, this is MMA. Like, you can get hit with an elbow. You might get hit with a knee. Or, I mean, you might even get hit with a chin. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I remember seeing Crimson Chin on Nickelodeon. That chin can be lethal. I remember when we were younger, right, we used to go in each other's heads and go like, waggle, waggle, waggle. And them things kind of hurt. So I said to him, "Is the hardest strike to chin?" He goes to me, "No." He said, "Any punch that you see coming, you can embrace it. You can prepare for it." And I knew that to be true myself. Because when I started going sparring myself, shouts out to my coach, Paul Holland. I remember when he put the head guard on me for the first time, and he told me, like, when the punch comes, Kayode, you got to, like, lean into it, and embrace it. I was like, okay, cool. I mean, it didn't work for me. I went into the ring, leaned into it, and I had my arse handed out to me on the floor. That didn't work for me, so, I mean, I don't know how true that was in boxing. But anyway, he said that any punch you see coming, you can prepare for. However, it's the punch that you least expect that can hurt you the most. I was like, right, interesting. So it's the punch that I least expect that can hurt me the most. And again, I knew this to be true. Because for all of us, not just me, what was the biggest unexpected punch that all of us faced in recent times over the past 24 months? COVID. Man, I remember in January of 2020, I was planning my event. I'm not only a speaker, I have an events business too. I was planning my event, January 2020, to happen in March 2020. I was hearing about COVID happening in other parts of the world. I was like, yeah, whatever. The event is still going ahead. Got to March 2020, only 5 people turned up. And I was one of the 5. I made up 20%. I mean, even in my speaking business, I remember signing my biggest contract in the February of 2020. I was like, yeah. March 2020 came, and they pulled it from me. I was like, oh man, this COVID thing is really real. I mean, I got the contract back in the end. Don't get it twisted. I was like, don't come at me, but don't give me my contract. I got it back in the end. But that was the unexpected punch that I faced. Now, going back to Mike Tyson, like I said, he said that everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. But no, Mike. It's not that any punch, it's not that your plan is ruined by punching in the mouth. It's the unexpected punch that ruins you. Because any good plan, you have a contingency plan, you have a risk assessment, but it's those unexpected punches that can affect us, that can ruin us. So now as I close, and as you're about to embark on this graduation, to go out there in the arena of life, make sure that you're gum shielded in, your boxing gloves on, and remember those lessons. Firstly, don't be like the leaves. Be like the trunk of a tree. Be solidified, anchored for who you are, what it is that you want to do, and what it is that you want to be. Secondly, remember that your happiness should always come from within. Don't rely on external things to make you happy. And finally, remember it's that it's the unexpected punch that can hurt us the most. I've been Kayode Damali. Ding, ding, ding. The next round of your life is about to begin. Gracias por escuchar. Thank you for listening.